Hello, everybody. It's 6 o'clock on September 17th, and welcome to the Casa Alliance Virtual General Assembly. If you're watching this with us tonight, hello, and it's everybody. Live, it's great. Welcome. 6 o'clock. If you're watching us sometime in the future, welcome too. We'd like to have a few things going on tonight. We're going to provide an update about what's going on in Casa de Oro, and we're going to have a general discussion about fire safety, and the what we can do to be fire safe and survive fires in our area. I'd like to introduce a few people before we get started. First, with me we have Bob Yaris, our president. Bob, wave. Hello, say hello, Bob. Welcome, and then welcome. Also we have with us from our fire department, and I don't know exactly which one, Captain Pat Carroll. Which agency are you with?
San Miguel Fire and Rescue.
San Miguel Fire and Rescue. Thank you very much. And then we have also with us Kathleen Hedberg from the Fire Safety Council. Which Fire Safety Council is that, Kathleen?
It's the Rancho Helix de Oro Fire Safe Council.
Thank you very much. And we also have two people from Sept. And first is Frank Geberdine and BJ Albright. Frank, maybe you could tell us what Sept stands for? Are you there, Frank? Or BJ? Oh, Frank, you might be on mute.
Open your mic. Open your mic, Frank.
It stands for Community Emergency Response Team.
Thank you very much. And our engineer and producer tonight is Dusty Bennett, right? Dusty, are you there? All right. Thank you very much. Dusty, could you bring up our agenda tonight?
First on the agenda, we have the President's Report from Bob Yaris, and then we'll get an introductions coming from all of our presenters tonight.
All right. Bob.
Yes, sir.
I know that you have a whole lot of things that you're up to, and you've got a lot of updates for us. I wanted to go through a number of them with you and take some time and let everybody know what's going on with Casa de Oro, and because there's a lot of changes that are coming. Could you talk probably about the biggest one? What are you hearing about the library, and where are we at in that project?
Yeah, well, thanks, Mike, for asking. And first of all, I also would like to thank the guests tonight, our esteemed guests that have expertise in this topic. It's relevant and timely. And also, I wanted to thank Mike for moderating tonight's panel. Also would like to introduce Mike being on the Safety Council. He's also on the board of directors of the Casa de Oro Alliance. He's our treasurer. And he's also on the board of the Valley de Oro Planning Group. So thanks, Mike, for taking the lead tonight.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm excited to share with you an update about the library as late as 3:30 this afternoon. I got a call back from David Feliciano, the superintendent of La Mesa Spring Valley School District. David, Supervisor Diane Jacob, some of her staff, David's CFO, a couple of folks from the Casa de Oro Alliance, as well as some stakeholders and investors that are very, very, very important to the completion of this project. What the intent is, in summary, if you haven't heard before, is to go ahead with a commitment from Supervisor Diane Jacob to build a $20 million plus amount library on approximately 12 acres behind the La Mesa Spring Valley Academy, which would be on the corner of Campo Road and Conrad. There's 12 acres unused behind that school that we are visioning to be a field of dreams. We also have a commitment from several principals and deep pockets to look at working with the Boys and Girls Club to build a Boys and Girls Club on the property adjacent to the library, and and or a teen center. Once the document is completed and signed, and I understand from David this afternoon, it's on their board agenda this last meeting or last week of the month will be their board meeting. And I asked him today, is it important that we bring a coalition of stakeholders and interested parties in our board to this board meeting? He said, no, Bob, I'm very confident that we will have an agreement, a 99-year lease with the county to go ahead and provide them the land and opportunity to build this library. It's a project we've probably been working on for about 3 years. It looks like it is coming to fruition with all the players, and we're very, very excited about it, as is the school district and its board. As you probably know, there are very limited areas in Casa for children to play. And so this will have an opportunity, if the teen center is also built, to have the teen center, the current soccer field, AYSO soccer field, Little League field, a beautiful library, access, and it'll be seen and very highly visible from Campo Road. So Mike, we're very excited as a board to see this come to fruition.
That's a great project, and congratulations on all your work that you put into that. I know you put a lot of phone calls and meetings, and I know that other people like Roy Davies also put a lot into that project, and it's so wonderful to hear that it's going forward.
Yes.
But when we first got together, people always said, "What are you doing? Like, there's there's nothing that really happens around here." But there's some digging going on along Campo Road, and there's holes in the cement. But there's also new structures on Campo Road. What's going on with that?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. A couple of years ago, again, several of us met with Supervisor Jacob, County Council, her senior policy advisor, and representatives from MTS, the Metropolitan Transit Service. And there had been a groundswell of community interest and complaints, as a matter of fact, about the lack of covered, adequate bus benches along Campo Road. So within that first year, MTS came out and did a traffic survey and a boarding survey, and recognized that, yeah, there is a need for better benches, upgraded benches, and covered benches. Fast forwarding, a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions. It even boiled down to a First Amendment issue with both parties not agreeing which, what could be advertised on the benches. We got that resolved. They went ahead and poured 2 concrete pads initially and covered those. You might see those already. One is in front of Albertsons, and then recently got approval from the landowners for one in front of Miss Donut next to the little shop there, and one on the Hauk property, formerly the Oxbow Inn. There's a pad that was just poured yesterday. Next Thursday, I was told today by Roberto de la Torres from the Department of Public Works, next Thursday, MTS will install the final 2 covered benches, and then we'll have a total of about 12 new benches along Campo Road, Mike, and 4 of those will be covered.
They also put in some asphalt by that one bench by the new 7-Eleven.
Yeah, when we walked that about 3 or 4 months ago, the Department of Public Works realized, and we're always talking to them about ADA issues within Campo Road, how unsteady it would be in a wheelchair to take a wheelchair along the sidewalk and setbacks on either side of Campo Road. And unbeknownst to us, they recognized that out in front of this new 7-Eleven and some of the other retail stores to the east of 7-Eleven, there was about 100 yards of very, very unsafe setback asphalt. And some of you might remember, like Mike and I, who have lived here for well over 40 years, that there used to be trees there. Well, they took those trees up, didn't do a very good job mitigating some of the root systems, and they finally went ahead and covered those with some smooth asphalt.
Speaking of asphalt, there's new asphalt on Kenwood.
Yeah, we were told about a year ago that Caltrans was going to come in with the county and put some new asphalt from along Kenwood, from Kenwood all the way down to Bancroft. You probably noticed they did the west side of Kenwood probably several months ago. And then we were wondering, why haven't they finished the east side up along CVS and Carl's Jr.? Came to find out in making some inquiry that Caltrans did not like the mitigation plan that the county put in place for traffic on and off Highway 94. They finally resolved that impasse, and today they completed the Kenwood and the striping from Campo to the underpass and below on Kenwood going to the west. So that road is completed and it looks really nice.
I don't remember, but you might have talked about it, but you need to talk about it again, the new curve on Kenwood.
Yeah.
Corner there.
About 3 years ago, I met a gentleman who built a lot of Casa de Oro. He has since passed. His name was Neil Svelstad. He owns the property where Deering Banjo is and multiple other properties in the Casa de Oro region. He brought me over to his house one night and he said, "Bob, I've always wanted to have the children have a safe walk from the Spring Valley Academy to the Highway 94 and go home. And there's dirt, etc., from Campo Road all the way down to the 94 along Kenwood. If you can get the county to put a sidewalk and a curb there and complete that project, I will get one of my three friends and developers who owns multiple strip malls in Casa de Oro to pledge a significant number of dollars to rebuild the corner of Kenwood and Campo Road and make that the quote unquote gateway to Casa de Oro. The segue to that, Mike, is that one of our board members and secretary, and he did most of the work. I was just kind of listening to all the things he was doing. We submitted a $100,000 plus grant, a neighborhood reinvestment grant to the county. We're extremely optimistic that we'll get that grant to continue to upgrade that corner on both sides of Kenwood with landscaping, new signage, etc. So that curb was done, cost the county about $170,000. And we're moving forward on the completion of that corner and really upgrading what that landscape looks on both sides of the street and make it a safe, small little mini park, if you will.
So Ed Batchelder did all that work. He put hours and hours into that grant application, and it's not all about, you know, that. I think it's $100,000 grant, but it's not all about that corner. Can you talk about some of the other projects?
Yeah, and I was just notified, I stand corrected. The original pledge came from Ron Svelstad, an attorney and real estate developer, and his son, Neil Svelstad, who lives in La Mesa, is on our advisory council, and we continue to work together with that commitment from the family. So your specific question again, Mike, please.
The other projects that are in that grant, we're gonna basically, in that grant, I know that one part of it is to basically figure out the design of that corner.
Yeah, design of
there's some other things that are also being changed out of that grant. You want to talk about those?
To the AutoZone owners of the AutoZone on the corner of Conrad and Campo Road. There's some concrete out there. There's a new covered bench there, and there's an area, a zone that probably a couple of 100 square feet that we've got permission to re-landscape. We are also going to come down with some banners along Campo Road, much like you see around Cuyamaca College, to celebrate the history and just bring people up to date with what's going on in Casa de Oro. And the grant also includes about a dozen planters, large planters that will be placed strategically along Campo Road to beautify the community. And we'll put some hardscape, succulent, cactus type plants in there that take minimal water, but we're committed to taking care of those. All that's rolled up in that same grant, Mike. The second part of that grant will be the improvements on top of the landscape architect design, et cetera, for the Kenwood project. That will be all the plant material, the signage, et cetera. So we're excited and very optimistic that we're going to be able to secure both of those grants.
So if you've that's great news. We haven't heard the news yet, but we're hopeful that we're going to get that. But we do have solid evidence of real progress on our community park, or I guess it's a neighborhood park rather than a community park.
Yeah, and this has been a shared project dating back many, many years before the alliance was even formed. And Kathleen could probably speak to the heritage, but apparently there are minutes with the Grossmont Mount Helix Improvement Association some 25 to 40 years ago, when they originally brought the whole idea to the county that the open land, the open space on Estrella Park needed to be upgraded and converted to a park, a legitimate park. We got on that bandwagon with them, as well as a few other stakeholders. And if you haven't driven Estrella Park in Conrad, you will see progress being made that I've been told by General Services will be completed by the end of this year. I will say parenthetically, when we announced that on our Facebook and our website, there was some concerns and questions about ADA. There was some concerns about parking, etc. We have voiced those concerns at hearings representing our communities as an advocate for the disabled. There are no current ADA committed abatement to that park. And if you haven't been there, that park has a steep slope and there is no parking. Supervisor Diane Jacob herself went to the parish at Santa Sofia and asked them for some easement to allow them to have access from San Juan and some of their parking back through the church property to Estrella Park. Has not been successful with that. So currently it's being labeled a walk to park, not a dog park per se. And there will be no parking legally along Estrella or on the property itself. But it's a start, and maybe later on, as others have shared with me, we can ask for more grant money to consider possibly some parking on that site, but currently there will be no parking. And I just wanted the folks listening in that we tried to represent those issues, but we haven't been successful to date.
Yeah, I think there was a general feeling that we needed to keep moving forward as opposed to saying no because it wasn't 100%. We took like 80% of the loaf and said, oh, let's keep going, but we didn't want to say no. Okay, I appreciate that. Bob, is there anything else that you wanted to add in before we move on?
Yeah, I wanted to share with you, I think both GMIA and the Alliance the last 6 years have been very, very appreciative for the support that we've received from staff and Supervisor Diane Jacobs' office. We are not a politically based organization. A 501c3 that we are is prohibited from endorsing any candidates, but we do have a plan, and that plan is to take our executive committee, if they would agree, and on separate meetings with both candidates, Steve Voss and Joel Anderson, and possibly their staff, walk them down individually with our executive committee, and maybe anybody that wants else to join in with us, and walk them down Campo Road, share with them some of the developments, the support we've had in the past, and what our vision is. And I will also tell you that if you haven't followed us, about a year and a half ago, we received a $500,000 grant from Sandag, which the county is engineering right now on our behalf with their contractor, the Michael Baker International Planning Group. We're on first base with the implementation or the completion of the grant and coming up with specific guidelines and the potential of rezoning Casa. So we're very excited downstream about what this potentially could look like vis-a-vis what's happened in Little Italy and North Park, etc. Lots of upside potential. And we're really excited. And I'm very, very blessed to have a passionate group of men and women on our board and our advisory council that are committed to making this happen at the end of the day.
All right. Thank you very much, Bob. I really appreciate that update. I appreciate you being here and all the work that you do for the Alliance. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure. Thank you, Mike.
So now we're going to kind of move into the main part of our meeting tonight. And I'm going to let each of our guests kind of take the floor and introduce themselves. They each have a message, I assume. Hopefully it's not a long message, but a message that we all want to hear. And we'll after we hear their message, we'll take in, we'll give them some questions that can have and expand the discussion. So if anybody wants to ask any questions and you're watching us live on Facebook, you can enter your questions in, and our producer, Dusty Bennett, will go ahead and share those with us. So first of all, I wanted to get with Captain Pat Carroll. He's with the Helix Fire. Is that right? San Miguel Fire Department. Is that right?
Yeah, San
Captain?
Miguel Fire and Rescue.
So you're the subject matter expert on fire here, and we're going to talk about kind of as part of this discussion is kind of what us as citizens can do, and maybe how we could be better informed and be better prepared to deal with fire. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and then give us your message, what we should know and what is most important for us to know as a community about fire and what we can do about it?
Yeah, definitely. So thanks again for having me, inviting me to join you guys this evening in your meeting. My personal experience in the fire service has been 14 years, and I have experience in the wildland arena. I started my career off in the U.S. Forest Service out in Descanso and on the Cleveland National Forest. Then I went to Cal Fire, and I stayed within the San Diego unit, all out in East County. Grew up in Pine Valley, so I'm familiar with. I evacuated myself in 2003 during the Cedar Fire, and then now I'm with San Miguel Fire and Rescue. So currently stationed out of Mount Helix, Station 21, and as a fire captain. So my main message to all the viewers and to you guys in the community is just to be aware. And I'm glad to see that there's community groups out there like you guys that are being proactive instead of reactive. And I think that's a huge part. I think we've seen in this county, as long as you guys have been around, wildfires have been a threat to us, and they don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. So I think this collaboration is a great foundation for things to come.
What's the news from the Valley Fire? What's your experience there, and how is that going, and how is it affecting communities out there?
Yeah, so I actually got to spend 6 days on the Valley Fire. I came in a couple days later than after it started. I know they did have a little flare up, I think, today inside the perimeter of the fire, so no new growth. I believe all the units assigned have been released, but us, the San Miguel Fire District, we sent a total of 20 personnel to that fire. So that included 3 Type 1 engines, 1 Type 3 engine, which is a brush engine, 1 battalion chief, and 3 overhead positions. So we were greatly involved in that operation, as it was a threat to our district on that west side and coming into Crest.
So did you have enough resources to deal with what you needed to deal with, and where are your resources now? Are you just like hunkered down, or are you spread thin?
No, we have an elaborate backup system. So once these resources get deployed to those fires, we're able to recall crews and staff reserve engines. So that way we aren't depleted in the district. We still have our frontline engines available to respond to any 911 calls. And we were requested through our mutual aid partners of CAL FIRE and the U.S. Forest Service. So in California, we have a mass mutual aid program that runs from the Oregon border to the Mexican border. And all the emergency response districts and cities all collaborate together to try to alleviate any natural disaster or threat of that in any way.
So what are the borders of the San Miguel Fire District, I guess? How should we think about you guys?
So we host, we cover and serve 49 square miles in San Diego County, mostly unincorporated areas. So we have 8 stations within those 49 square miles, ranging from Crest to Bostonia in the El Cajon area, to Dehesa, Rancho San Diego, Mount Helix. And then we have 3 stations in Spring Valley, 1 in La Presa, 1 our headquarters off of Via Orange Way in Spring Valley, and then also Casa de Oro, we have a station.
So when you measure if you're in Casa de Oro, how long, and there was a fire, what's the kind of response that you would expect? I mean, first of all, who do we call? Is it like does it change based on what day of the week it is, or is it always 911, or what kind of information should we have available, and who do we call if there's a fire in our yard or a fire in our house?
Yeah, definitely. For any of that, I would recommend calling 911. We contract with Heartland Communication Center, who provides the 911 service and actual operators of who picks up the phone and who you're talking to. So depending on that, that phone call and the information that is received there is going to dictate which kind of response you're going to get. So typically in our zone, a residential structure fire, so if your house is on fire or your stove is on fire, you're going to get 4 Type 1 fire engines, a fire truck, and a battalion chief. Now, that response differs if it's in the vegetation. Depending on the day, there's multiple variables on weather conditions, so the temperature, relative humidity, and wind speeds, and if we're in a red flag warning, dictates the level of response that's going to be sent to your emergency.
So if you get to some point in time and you're able to retire and become a fire consultant to businesses, what would be the number one thing that you would tell the businesses on Campo Road that they can do to make sure that they prevent fire in their businesses?
Well, I think we've learned through the history of fire and the history of California and San Diego. I think we've learned that 1 ounce of prevention really speaks volumes when it comes to an actual emergency. So prevention is probably your best source of preparation, and most of the things is going to be like, if you're talking in relation to vegetation fires, like the Valley Fire, is going to be keeping the outside ornamental vegetation, whether it's watered or not. That plays a big factor in it, and it be an actual fire hazard. And then obviously, if we go to inside the structure, we do offer fire prevention inspections that we do at no cost to the business owners. And that way we can help you identify and educate you on certain things that are required for your occupancy.
So if we wanted to post something on our website about that, who should we tell people to contact if they want one of those pre-inspections?
Yeah, definitely. So due to COVID-19, obviously things have kind of changed a little bit, but we do an ongoing, we call it an in-service company inspection. So you actually see your local fire engine pull up. So if you're a business owner on Campo Road, let's say by the Albertsons in that strip mall, you're going to see our fire engine actually pull up. You're going to see 3 of our personnel in uniform, just like this, make entrance into your business and let you know what we're there for. And we're very upfront, where it's an educational tool that we like to use, and we don't charge any fee for that service. So it's a way to educate the public and the business owners, and it's a way for us to develop those relationships within our community, and for you guys to get to know us, and likewise.
I wonder if we could plan an event sometimes. It might be something to do.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we're just coming out, just so you guys know, we're fairly new to revamping the fire district, coming out of the contract with CAL FIRE in recent years. And so we do have a new strategic plan that's going to be presented to you guys as the public here, I want to say shortly, in the next few months. And so that has our new vision, mission, core values, and some ways when we want to outreach to the community.
I could ask a bunch more questions than I might, but I want to move on to our other guests, and I might come back to you. But I guess I want to talk to Frank and BJ. Frank and BJ are with us from CERT. And before coronavirus came along, I was ready and signed up for my CERT training. I was ready to get CERT training. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I was excited to be ready for it. And it kind of got put on hold, I think, or I was waiting for it to come around, and I haven't heard anything about it. So maybe Frank and BJ can tell us about CERT, why, what it does, and how it can be helpful to the community, and maybe how the community can be helpful to the CERT program. Frank or BJ, do you want to get started on that?
I'll start out with the overview. CERT is not really a new organization in 1985. Los Angeles actually started the first CERT program. And you know, if all of us who are that age remember emergency and how the squads got going. They found out that during large like earthquakes and wildfires, they didn't have enough people to go out and help service the people. So after that, 1993, CERT, after World Trade Centers, not World Trade Centers, but after they saw how successful Los Angeles was in 1993, CERT was established by the Citizens Corps, which you can go online and just look up CERT Citizens Corps. It gives you the entire program on what is being offered to anybody who wants to go on and read. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages. And our main motto is doing the greatest good for the greatest number of people, because we are privileged to be with San Miguel Fire and Rescue. We are under their authority, and we have been trained by fire instructors from San Miguel. And what we are is they're kind of their right arm. When something would really happen, we are there to assist. For example, if there was an earthquake and it hit in the Casa area, you think you're going to call 911 and the fire engine's going to roll up there and take care of everything. Well, if it's a massive incident, you may not see a fire engine for 24 to 72 hours. So in that case, we are activated by Chief Chris Brainerd, and he will authorize us to go into certain areas, and we start search and rescue. And BJ, I'll talk about the different training programs, but what it does is it gives them more hands and feet and eyes to go out and help the community prepare for what could happen. Because what we find, and BJ and I have been in this for 10 years, we've got probably close to 400 hours of training in CERT, and we find that what's just really disturbing is the general public is not prepared. And as basic as having water. And when we go out to the public and ask, do you have any water at home? No. Well, that's number one. You got to have water. And so what we're trying to do is prepare these people so when we go out, we can do many things: search and rescue. We can do triage. We have an ICS command that works right in with the department. We have our own CERT trailer. We have our own CERT truck. We have a building that's stocked with CERT material. We have about 40 active members right now. And in San Diego County, there's 32 CERT teams with approximately 1,800 members that are trained to service, 3.3 million people. And as Captain Carroll said, there's 144,000 people approximately in San Miguel's district in the Casa or Dior area. And so with us 40 to go out and try to help 144,000, not good odds, but I'll tell you what, we have trained and work and work and work. We train 12 times a year, and we're there to help and assist and do whatever it takes to serve the community and to prepare them, to educate them. We have materials, and like you asked about being trained, we have a 4-week training class to teach you how to take care of yourself and know something about CERT. I mean, CERT is the reason I got involved is I'm so passionate about seeing people that, they're just lost, and you see panic on television. I wasn't prepared. I didn't think. Well, like Pat says, just be prepared, because if you do that, then when the big one hits or you're called to evacuate, we can help you and train you and get you organized how you don't have to panic, and you can walk out of your house and go to an evacuation center feeling good that you've done everything you could to protect your house and property and mainly your life. And so what we're trying to just do is to help people to reach out. We're here to serve. You want us to come in and train, we love to do that, because it's the opportunity. If we can train one to take care of the next door neighbor, and he can take care of the next door neighbor, then San Miguel doesn't have to send a fire engine out to help them. when they can take care of themselves. And then when we get done, we can report back to them and help them in areas and tell them we need medical here, we need fire here. We're not firefighters, but we are people who are just there to serve and help people understand that we are able to take care of our community no matter what the situation is.
Mr. Rogers used to talk about the helpers. Go to the helpers. You're one of the helpers.
Well, BJ and I, we are co-facilitators. We have been putting this on for 10 years. BJ is an actual program manager, and I just basically assist. I'm kind of the logistics guy, and you have to be trained. We have to be activated in order to work as a CERT team member. When we put on that vest, we are under the authority of San Miguel Fire and Rescue and the state of California and the federal government. When we have the CERT vest on, we can only do certain things that we're trained for. We don't go out of our boundaries to do things that we don't have a clue, and we become victims, and we don't need any more victims when we're out searching.
Well, should we talk to BJ about this training? Is that what you said? BJ is going to tell us more about the training and how to get involved with this CERT program if we want to.
Yeah, let me just finish as what we try to do is, how many people out there online watching this know where your utilities box, how to turn off your electricity, how to turn off your water, how to, if somebody, God forbid, in your house hurt themselves with a major wound, could you stop bleeding? Could you help somebody organize and get evacuated? Can you help a handicap? How would you get them out of their home if there was no other way? We teach you all of that, and I'll let BJ just go through the training because it's extensive, and we train and train and train and train, and just so we can be better.
That's great. I really appreciate your commitment and your volunteerism and what you do for the community. BJ, tell us about this training.
Well, basically, I'm looking at a manual with about 520 pages, so we'll start at page 1, right?
Sure. We got just a minute, though.
Basically, want to echo what was said before. We are not trained to be firefighters. You will not be jumping on the red truck and going out with Pat and running around and doing that stuff. But there is an awful lot of things that people can do for themselves, their family, and their community. That's actually what Community Emergency Response Team was built for, is to help in local communities when something happens. And it's kind of interesting because I have found most of the training is used outside of the actual CERT event. Sometimes a little small event happens and all of a sudden the training kicks in and I'm no longer stressed. I have options of what I can do. I'm not thinking about what do I do? And that's what I like about the training here. It takes 4 Saturdays. It's a long process. Most of it is hands-on. And that's nice. Some people never fired a fire extinguisher before. Some people never understood exactly which type of fire extinguisher to use. The biggest thing we try to emphasize is safety. When is a building too much involved for you to go into? When is a building unsafe to go into? What are your limitations and what are you able to do? We never ask anyone to go beyond their comfort zone, but until you're actually put in training, you sometimes don't know what you can do. And sometimes it's just talking to people. Sometimes it's just giving them a hand and helping them to the next location. There's an awful lot of things involved in here. First of all, we can tell you all about the organization and how CERT works. But some of the things we're going to be talking about might be fire safety. What kind of fires, how to use them, what do you use to put them out? And then we have 2 separate sections on disaster medical. And that's pretty extensive. So it takes mostly the whole day. But it teaches you how to assess if you had 15 or 5 people injured, who is the most serious and the need for the help the most. And contrary to popular belief, it's not the one speaking loudest or yelling loudest. Okay. So in this particular case, we want to optimize the resources you have, and just a little bit of training can help you there. Let's see, light search and rescue. We do go through and teach you how to cover a building, how to search it effectively, how to tag or triage, as we say, people. So when the other resources or other CERT members get there, they can assist and they're organized. This is one of the things that has to happen is you need to be organized and be trained very similarly. So you all work as a unit. You don't one person wanting to do this, one person wanting to do that, and you have a big collision here. So light firefighting, there's also an organizational structure that they teach in the fire department and in CERT. It's an organization called Incident Command Structure or Incident Command System. And basically what it does is it tells you how to build a bigger system. You may have a small little issue and you can handle it just 2 or 3 people, or you may have a big thing where you're actually covering a large area. There is something I do want to indicate with CERT. The idea behind CERT was to do training for yourself, your family, and your community. Frank and I have got through additional training to work where we can be called out by Chief Brainerd. We can access other CERT members who have had training in the area that we're trying to do. It could be available for flood control or crowd control or traffic or basically whatever they ask us to do. So it doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be dispatched up to Northern California or anything like that. You're simply available to do what you can do. There's some other things you're talking about now that we cover: terrorism, what to do in a disaster. Now, it's interesting because a lot of the training people don't understand. And I think Pat could probably give more detail on this. There is a psychology when you are put into a disaster situation. Certain things you need to be ready for, certain things to look for after an event happens that you're involved in. Sometimes it's just glosses over, but sometimes people have problems with it. So you need to be aware of that and when that comes up. But that's where that 520 pages come in. We take it, it's interactive. A lot of it's on slides, a lot of it's question and answers, some of it's stories, a lot of it's hands-on. But I have yet to be, and Frank, how many times have we been through training?
Well, we do once a year, once every month, so 12 times a year. Plus we have a regional or county-wide drill, plus we do our own drills. So we are training all the time. In fact, we train more than any other CERT team in the county.
We actually found out that we did a drill one time using a church, and we did a drill to find out how well we did. Well, we didn't do very well, which instigated us from now doing training every month. This does not mean that as a CERT member, you need to be there every single month. But on the second Saturday of the month, when COVID is not in effect, we would go through training and pick something based on the members as to what we want to do. Let's say we wanted to review medical. We do more medical. Or we want to do cribbing, how to extract somebody from something. We can go through that. That's what those classes are for. So it's pretty much open to the needs of our team, and we continue training that way.
So when do you think this is going to start up again?
When do you think COVID will be released?
So we're kind of stuck in a holding pattern until then.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of things that with the Alliance as well.
True.
I appreciate. So right now, if somebody's interested in CERT, what would be the best thing that they could do? Is just contact anybody, get on a list? Is there stuff that they could read? What's your kind of recommendation? Well, if somebody's interested in this, even if they can't go to the training.
On the website, San Miguel Fire and Rescue, we have a section in there. It says CERT. You can see some information on CERT. And more importantly, if you would just go to Citizens Corps, which is the National Government Association that's running the CERT program, you can go to any topic you want to and get trained, self-trained on any area. And you will feel more confident, because if we can build confidence one person at a time, then when we move into areas of disaster and people want to help, if they've had any kind of training, we can take those people and make them assets instead of liabilities. So once we get started, we'd love to, if you have like a mobile home park, you have usually an association directors of that mobile home park. You'd like for us to come and go through a training program with you, we'd be happy to. You want us to do an open house where you have at the library, which we've done a couple times, we're happy to. What we want to do is just serve and educate and train. So it's, as BJ said, it starts with you, then your family, then your neighbor, then your community. Because if we can train those people to take care of themselves, that's one less person or persons that Carol and his first responders have to come and take care of. They can go help people who really are in trouble.
That does bring up a question, though. Our biggest treatment as far as training goes is we want to make sure we don't make more work for the fire department. I believe in South America, I don't know the details, but a bar caught fire and they pulled 300 people out of the bar. That was okay, except for one little problem. 200 were original patrons and the extra 100 were people who went in to save them. So
I get it. I appreciate that. So there's a need for people to kind of get to understand how to work through disasters, either as helping themselves or their family, their neighbors, or their community. And you guys are doing some great work there. And it sounds like you could use some help, but we're going to have to wait until this virus thing gets over before we can move on. But I know that you have a new colleague in the fight, and that's our friend Kathleen Hedberg. Kathleen, are you still with us?
I am here.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you very much for sticking with us. Your initiative to start this new organization called the Rancho Helix DRO Fire Safety Council is inspiring. Could you kind of tell us what your idea was and how you got this thing started and what you're up to with it and how you expect it to go forward?
Well, can I just run my presentation, or
Sure.
do you not want me to do the presentation?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, and I think this falls really right in line with what the previous presentations you had. You know, San Miguel Fire District and CERT, you know, our organization is about the community and touching the neighbors and trying to get everyone to be preventative on their issues. So let me go ahead and get started on this presentation. I'll try to make it quick. And let's see.
It doesn't have to be quick, just not boring.
Just not boring. Okay.
Right.
Well,
you got plenty of time. People
okay.
are just sitting in the home saying, when am I going to have dinner?
There you go. All right. So Rancho Helix de Oro Fire Safe Council. Yes, I was the person to finally get it started. But everyone doesn't know what a Fire Safe Council is. So let's start there. The Fire Safe Council of San Diego County. So in the whole county, is the Rancho Helix de Oro Fire Safe Council falls under the umbrella of the Fire Safe Council of San Diego County. And as you can see on this map, there's over 40 fire safe councils in the county. And the mission of the Fire Safe Council of San Diego County is to provide an exchange of information through education and training and foster fire prevention and safety throughout the San Diego region. Their vision is to foster a fire safe and fire wise region that is developed through an ongoing course of public education, training, and community collaboration and project support. And that's the key, community collaboration, you know, reaching out to all the communities in our county and developing fire safe councils. So their goals are to promote the protection of life, property, and the environment, provide a platform for promoting fire prevention and safety efforts for the stakeholders, and to strengthen the participation from local fire safe councils. So they have meetings every other month, very similar to your CERT program, where we meet every other month and we talk about what programs you can have in your communities and what grants are available, and basically, you know, what we can do to make sure that we have fire safe communities. So what inspired me was to get it started. You know, we talked about this many times, about having a fire safe council up here in Mount Helix area, in our semi-rural area. And the Paradise Fire that occurred on, you know, November 8th, that started November 8th, 2018, really was a tragedy that touched me. And I'd like to just play this few second video of what really got me. Heavenly Father, please help us. Please help us to be safe. I'm thankful for Jim and his willingness to be brave. You could see she's trying to evacuate from her home, and she's passing cars that have pulled over because they can't see and they don't know where the evacuation route is or where they are because of the smoke and fire. And you can see this is during the daytime. It wasn't during the nighttime. You know, thankfully this family traveled, you know, and made it through that fire. However, there were 85 people who lost their lives up in Paradise Fire, and 11,000 homes were destroyed. And that is more than our whole area that we're looking at and covering. And when I saw that, and the county supervisor, Diane Jacob, and the supervisor said, okay, let's get more people in your homes, understanding what to do when there is a fire. Evacuate when the county says to evacuate. We need to develop fire safe councils to get the community people know, because 85 people lost is a tragedy that should not have happened. So soon after January, as some of you know, I do wear the hat as president of Grossmont Mountain Helix Improvement Association now. I wasn't president then, but you know, very active in GMIA. We said, okay, let's spearhead this and get some members to volunteer to put this organization, this council together. So we went to the Valle de Oro planning group and we told them the program, and we got several people to come on the council. And we also went to Casa de Oro Alliance, and Michael is involved. And then we also have some community at large members, people who actually are very understand the fire council from other areas. So in collaboration with don't want to do that again. San Miguel Fire Rescue, CAL FIRE, and County Sheriff, and ongoing, you know, learning the education of the Fire Safe Council of San Diego County. You know, we sat down with these different groups to try to see what we need to know and what we need to focus on. So as far as starting the Fire Safe Council, we had to create an area that we were interested in covering. And right now, this is the footprint of GMIA, and we just decided, let's just start with that small area. You know, we were thinking of going like maybe a larger area, Valle de Oro area, but we just thought, let's start small and we can grow later. So what we have is part of Rancho San Diego, Mount Helix area, and then Casa de Oro area. And so we developed these bylaws, and they were approved by the Fire Safe Council of San Diego County in May 2019. And the next step, what we had to do was create a community wildfire protection plan. And what this wildfire protection plan is, it's about a 25-page document that looks at our whole area and identifies, you know, where the hazards are, who, you know, where's fire station 21, where are all the fire stations at, who are the stakeholders, and then also looking at structural hardening projects. What can you do, you know, what different projects you can do in the community, as well as, you know, the defensible space and areas where maybe we need to do chipping and stuff like that. And then the end line is the evacuation plans. So after doing that, the wildfire plan and putting that together, we submitted it to the county Fire Safe Council, and they're in the process of finalizing and reviewing it. We received a San Diego Gas Electric grant. In our plan, we decided what we need to do right now is educate all of the households in our area and let them know who we are, and include, you know, tips on how to be fire wise and safe, and information who to call. Captain Carroll mentioned about how San Miguel Fire and Rescue, they contract with Heartland Fire. So if you had a fire or something ongoing, yes, you called 911. But if you wanted to try to get in touch with San Miguel Fire District and it's off hours, you need to contact them through Heartland Fire. And so that was something that, you know, recently I was glad to know about this, because when we were having the riots going on in La Mesa, you know, we were fearful that some of these fires and people are going to be coming up, and wanted to make sure that San Miguel Fire District knew what we had heard, because, you know, all the rumors and such. So it was really good to have that understanding of our area and the process of communication in fire districts. So also, as part of our flyer, we're going to be including an evacuation map, which will show the main exit access ways to get out of Mount Helix based on where you are. And this was given to us by someone at San Miguel Fire District. And so we, you know, in conjunction working with them, getting this information together. So right now everything's still very draft, but once we get our flyer together, you know, we will be sending it out to, I think it'd be great to send it out to the CERT group and the San Miguel Fire, so you guys could provide us input and comments on what maybe else we need to put in this informational flyer. So, you know, the bottom line is, you know, we don't want our paradise to be a victim such as Paradise, California in 2018. So that's all I have for now. Thank you. What we're asking is, you know, to join us, follow us, and spread the word. We have put together a Facebook page, and we have an Instagram page, and we're doing a website. We just have general information on there right now. We're going to be making it all look nice soon. But, you know, we are a all volunteer group, and with the COVID stuff coming up, it definitely created some challenges in getting things going. But, you know, what we would like this to be is a communication for people in the community to work with us in getting their brush cleaned off, or, you know, they're looking at concerns about, you know, making sure that they're fire safe. And you know, here's a picture. You know, the other hat I wear is I am also board director on the Helix Water District. And you know, Helix Water District, when the Paradise Fire went through, their water system was basically, you know, all shut off, and they had really need some help. And Helix and Padre Dam, we were able to send a couple crews up there to help restore water supply. Just very devastating. And the stories I heard from just my crew going up there and seeing the devastation was really heartening. And as you can see, I do practice what I preach. I have a couple of goats here who go in and make sure.
Cows.
No, they're goats. They're goats.
Okay.
Frank and Bucky. They're my fire goats that keep my brush down on my acre property. And but you know, we want to keep everything beautiful up here on Mount
Do you
Helix.
rent them out?
You know, they're kind of getting old.
Well, maybe the
No.
fire council can get some goats to rent out to people.
Yeah, actually, I heard that there's some down at I think Cuyamaca College right now.
Oh, well,
So-
the students can take care of them for us.
There you go. But anyways, you know, like I said, it's a new program. We're just getting started, and please spread the word. So.
All right. Thank you very much, Kathleen. That was very informative. Dusty, do we have any questions from our audience?
Yeah, we have a couple coming in here. Our first question is for everybody. It's coming from Tom Hyatt. As a parent with young children, even though I know it would be valuable to spend 4 full Saturdays in training to complete, I feel that it is basically impossible without being retired. So admitting that, would it ever make sense to offer a one-time half-day basics training for the most important and most common items, for example, a Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon only? I imagine that's the CERT training? So would it make sense in the future to possibly have a shorter version of the CERT training for individuals who don't have as much time?
It probably could be made available. However, when we say 4 weeks, we are really doing the Reader's Digest version. As BJ say, the manual's 524 pages long and it's very extensive. But we do have, from time to time, if you would send information to our CERT website and ask for information, we have got a plethora of information to how to do a 72-hour to-go bag, what type of fire extinguisher to buy, where do you go in an evacuation plan, who's your out-of-state contact, who's the person that you can go to in need of health. Be sure you have your prescriptions, your medications, your plastic and your money, your photographs, your passports. We can give you all this in a nice organization because we have literature that we have spent hours putting together that we'd love to share with people. And that's why we like these open houses, and we can set up our whole entire 60-foot run of information and training materials that people's free. Is just ask. We're here to serve.
Maybe we can figure out a way to do something virtually where, we can have that kind of 4-hour meeting virtually where you can share some of that information over 4 hours to people who want to come. Maybe we can figure out how to do that.
I got a question coming in for Pat Carroll. It's, why doesn't the fire department have a small vehicle that goes with the ambulance to heart attack victims, etc., instead of a huge engine?
Yeah, that's a question we get quite frequently. And depending on the agency that serves you, us and San Miguel Fire and Rescue, we don't offer that service model. It is something that is kind of come to the forefront with our cooperators. But to answer the question very specifically is, a lot of times the people calling 911 don't know exactly what's going on. And so we respond in the fire engine because it has all of our tools and we're able to adapt to the situation as need be. And a lot of the times, if you spent some time on Campo Road, you know that we're not always at the fire station. So sometimes we're bouncing from call to call to call. And so we need to have all the equipment ready at a moment's notice.
All right, thank you. The next question coming in is in regards to fireworks. Is there anything we can do to limit the supply of fireworks in the area? Also, is there a better way to report fireworks other than calling the sheriffs?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that question is directed towards me, but I think it could give some insight. I've ran out of Casa Station. I've ran numerous calls in that Campo Road corridor. in relation to fireworks. San Diego County still is illegal for any kind of firework activity. So I don't know if there's much more that we could do than that, than just try to educate our community members on the dangerous and the legality issues that come along with that. I know the San Diego Sheriff's Department is involved in doing some research and investigating some of those matters that are brought up. And that's all I can speak to on that.
So when I think we had a discussion with our local sheriff commander, I think he's Lieutenant Strange, and he said that activity has decreased recently. I haven't seen as many reports, but there were, like, it seemed like in May, June timeframe, there was like a lot of people that were complaining about fireworks.
Yeah, I know.
It was not like a celebration of anything that I knew of.
I know I spent 4th of July there in Casa de Oro at the fire station, and I was actually pretty amazed with the showing of fireworks that were in the air throughout the Spring Valley in general. And I think a lot of it has to do with the COVID times and people being confined to their homes. But yeah, I know.
So do we call the fire or do we call the sheriff? Is that, I mean, is it, what do you guys, do you just point at each other, call them?
No. Definitely any kind of illegal activity is going to involve law enforcement. If there's a life threat or emergency or property threat, by the ramifications of using fireworks. So if the fireworks have caused a medical injury, whether
or fire
or caught a fire, yeah, then that definitely falls in our ballpark, and we'll be happy to assist.
And got another question coming in that maybe you could all answer to some capacity. It's what is something we can all do to make our homes less likely to be a fire danger?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good community resources out there from San Diego County, from the Ready, Set, Go, visiting their pages. I know the fire safe councils have a lot of good educational materials that are provided through their websites as well as ours. So I would direct you in any one of those directions, and you're going to find some good information. It's just all on how much you're willing to dig and put the time, energy, and effort into.
Well, the big thing that we always say is defensible space. You need to have that 50 feet to 100 feet barrier outside your house. Remove any brush or anything that's dead, or dead trees and stuff like that, and clear a lot of that fire brush, and that's a good thing to start with.
I think the theme of the Fire Safe Council brochure is also, there's two parts to it really. Is one part is being prepared to evacuate. Like, what does it mean to be prepared to evacuate? Because that's why Kathleen was showing the map, is like, what does it mean to be prepared? Well, have your stuff ready, and it kind of gives you the list of stuff to have ready. And there's also the which way are you going to go? Know which way you're going to go. But there's also like, well, what if you can't get out? How do you survive? Knowing how to survive a fire is also important information that we can make available to ourselves and our families. Dusty, anything else?
Nope, that's all we got coming in so far. I think that about wraps up all of our time as well. Okay,
we did go a little bit over, but I think it's been a great meeting, and I think we got a lot of information out to the community. Is there anything that anybody wants to add that maybe they forgot to add when they first talked and need to share? Because I think it was a great sharing of information, and we really appreciate all of you being here with us.
Mike, I just wanted to add thank you as well. And Kathleen and the CERT representatives, you can count on us putting much more of your information on our website and our Facebook page. And so we will be communicating with you. Certainly, Mike is a conduit with your organization, Kathleen. So you can count on us making sure that we will be communicating as much as you want us to through our website and our Facebook page.
Thank you. That's great.
Yeah, and if CERT wants to figure out a way to do some sort of informational session with our assembly folks, we can do that.
Love to.
And Captain Carroll, we really appreciate all your work for our community and the leadership that you provide to the agency. And we look forward to working with you in the future.
Yeah, thank you again for having us, and we look forward to developing the relationships within the community.
Thanks for your service.
You're welcome.
Yes, thanks a lot. And Bob, is there anything else you want to add?
No, thank you, Mike, for doing this. To the general public, we continue to look for topics, subject matter. If you do have something that you would like that's a pressing topic that we can present in a couple of months while we're still Zooming, let us know. We're constantly searching for ideas. And in fact, if Kathleen, you want to come on and recruit, we're open to that as well in a couple of months and expand what you're doing for the region, because the specificity of your organization covers us very well.
Yeah, they kind of sit right on top. So
Yep.
That's great. All right. Thank you, everybody. This was a great meeting, and we're going to call an end to it, I guess. Dusty, anything else?
And thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, everybody.
Dusty.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Dusty.
You for the invite.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. And let's get together again in a couple months.